Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Thursday, January 30th. Today is the final day of practice for the 2025 Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Excited to get back out there on the practice field. It's a little hazy today. I don't know if it's going to rain or not, but we'll get through it one way or the other. I want to talk today about the quarterbacks, both here and in general in the 2025 NFL draft class. We heard Steelers President Art Rooney say earlier this week that he expects the Steelers to be active in the draft. And I think a lot of people took that to mean early in the draft, and I just don't see it. I don't think that's going to be the case. And certainly, based on the way the Steelers have acted this week in Mobile, I don't think they're particularly interested in any of the quarterbacks are here. So let's start with just kind of breaking down who's available, right? Cam Ward from Miami, Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. Those two guys are going to be top 5 picks. I guess it's possible that the Steelers want to trade all the way up there and do that kind of business, but I haven't heard that. I don't think that. I think we can probably set that aside. Personally, I don't think they're particularly good prospects for where they're likely going to be drafted. Then you have Jalen Milroe, who might be the most interesting player in the entire draft class. I've been told that the Steelers do like him, maybe more than average. But I don't know what that means because average for Jalen Milroe is all over the place. There are some people that don't think he's a quarterback at all, and there's some people that think he's first-round talent. And I'll say a couple things about Jalen Milroe this week. He's looked really, really poor here. I mean, I think the setting is bad for him, so my expectations were not very high, but I don't feel like he's met even those expectations. It's just looked accuracy, the decision making. There's been lots of questions. There's been a couple of nice throws, but I mean, overall, it's been quite poor. And this setting is poor for him because he's an athlete. He's best when he's running around, when he's making throws on the move, when he's able to use his legs, and he's not being asked to do any of that here. So there's some understanding. Like Joe Milton, who looked pretty good when he played for the New England Patriots, looked like the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my entire life here a year ago. It's not necessarily the be-all, end-all of quarterback evaluations here at the Senior Bowl, but Jalen Milroe's not looking like a first-rounder to me here. The Steelers also are not paying any attention to the quarterback position, or at least not the kind of attention you would expect for a team that said on Monday that it's going to be active in the quarterback. Like that does not seem like they are closely fixated on that position. And usually a lot of teams are, and usually it's pretty obvious when teams are. It was very obvious when they were in 2022, when Mike Tomlin was all over guys like Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis, and they brought back Canada, and they brought Mike Sullivan. And, Arthur Smith's here, but I think he spent more of the day yesterday looking at wide receivers than anything else. Jaxson Dart is interesting because he's probably the first quarterback that will be taken that, has a reasonable outcome of being an NFL quarterback, almost certainly. But, I think he's a day 2 pick and has limited upside. He was a long-time college football player. He doesn't look awful here in this environment, but there's not a lot of wow. It's just a bunch of checkdowns and, some missed throws, some made throws, nothing that kind of makes you want to stand up and say, yes, give me that guy. Probably not as good as Pickett was here. Probably not as good as Mac Jones was here a few years ago. I'll say that Bo Nix was not very good here last year, and he turned out okay and was also an older prospect. Michael Penix was not good here last year, and he found a way to make an impact. But I've been very impressed with what I've seen with Dart so far. I don't know where I would draft him, but for the Steelers, it's, I just feel like they have more pressing needs than a quarterback who is not better than Justin Fields. To take one of those on day 1 or day 2 of this draft just feels foolish. Quinn Ewers is a guy who's not here. He certainly is an option for the Steelers and probably the first guy that I think they realistically could take. The same thing with Will Howard. Now, both of those guys are currently protected in the 3rd round. Again, I just think that's an awkward fit. I think it's more likely that, they might be interested in one of these later round quarterbacks, but they're not exactly blowing these guys up here. Dylan Gabriel, Riley Leonard, Tyler Shook. Those guys are all here. Now, there are some that are at the Shrine Bowl. That's Kyle McCord. That's Curtis Rourke. I think Brady Cook's there. Max Brosmer's there from Minnesota. I think you're looking more like if the Steelers are drafting a quarterback in this draft, it's going to be one of these late round guys, and it's just going to be a kind of total dart throw. It's going to be someone that's going to have to compete with Skylar Thompson for a roster spot. And their first 2 quarterbacks are going to be Justin Fields and someone to be Justin Fields' backup. Someone like Tyler Huntley or Marcus Mariota, given what Art said on Monday about wanting his quarterback 1 and quarterback 2 to be more closely aligned in skill set. I don't know if I can come up with another free agent quarterback who plays like that, but I'm sure there's 1 or 2 out there that I'm not thinking of. So if you're thinking the Steelers are thinking quarterback early, I don't really see any evidence for that so far. Of course, we got a long way to go in the draft process, and a lot of things can happen between now and then. But it sure looks to me like they're pretty fixated on wide receiver, defensive tackle, and we know they're going to draft a running back. Just not quite sure where in the process that's going to come. But right now, like as we sit here at the end of January, I'd be pretty surprised if the first 2 picks aren't wide receiver, defensive tackle in some form or fashion, running back, and then maybe starting with the 4th round, you could start to include quarterback in that mix. That's all I got for today. More Senior Bowl practice video on deck, and then me and Smitty on afternoon drive, just about 6 o'clock. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. We're pushing towards 15,000. Really, really appreciative of all of you who helped us get there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, enjoy.